Welcome back to another episode. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Michael Brown. Michael Brown is the owner of Messenger Bag Media, an all-in-one media creation agency dedicated to helping businesses create a curated professional media presence. His experience, first as a writer, then podcaster, online strategist, videographer, and editor, make him uniquely qualified to be a one-stop shop for media creation. He believes in the power of well-crafted, curated media to help grow your business and that it can be affordable as well. Messenger Bag Media has worked with clients such as HarperCollins, RBC, Magazines Canada, Family Channel, and many more. He went to the University of Guelph Humber and specialized in the journalism stream, and now he teaches at the institution as a part-time professor, teaching MDST 3390, public practice, and MDST 3490, freelancing and small business development, media professionals. These courses are for third and fourth year students in the school's Media and Communication Studies program with a specialization in visual communication. He was actually my professor as well. And now Michael Brown joins me live. How are you doing, Michael?
Hey Daniel, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So I can start off by saying, how does it feel being the owner of Messenger Bag Media? What have you learned from it?
Well, I've had the business for 5 years at this point, and yeah, it's been really good. Like it's a lot of fun to own your own business, to be able to set your own schedule. That when you have clients, you bring that work in. You are wholly responsible for every dollar you bring in. I mean, we've grown a lot over the last year in particular, but over the last couple of years. So we're a team of four now, and you know, we're just literally changing over from being a sole proprietorship to becoming a corporation. So there's some fun with doing all of that, but it's an exciting time, and I'm pleased with how the business has been doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Like, because in Messenger Bag Media, like, there's so many, professions within the company that you can do. Like, you can be a podcaster, you can be a videographer, a graphic designer, and you've served many roles in the media industry as well during the course of your media career. Which one has been your favorite, and which one has kind of stand out to you?
Hmm. Um, I mean, I would say that so Messenger Bag Media, like you mentioned, like we kind of do a whole bunch of stuff. So if it's media related, we do it. And especially now as we've expanded, we do uh, marketing, communications. I mean, we literally manage a not-for-profit association now, which is Magazines Canada. We've taken over their day-to-day operations. So, there's a lot that happens there. Um, and that's where two of our employees are mainly focused on. But I would say that for myself, my favorite is, when it comes to videography and video editing, there's just something so fun about going to a location, going to a client shoot, getting the equipment set up. You know,
Mhm.
uh, I really like doing the interviews for particularly a lot of what we have is kind of, corporate videography or certain things where you're interviewing the subject and you're getting the sound bites for the clips. I think I'm
Right.
pretty good at doing those interviews, and I just enjoy uh, uh, that whole process. And then when it comes to editing, you're basically like puzzle. You're like putting everything together in a
Right.
sequence, and you got to chop things up and move it around. And I just sort
Exactly.
of love that work of getting to work as though it's a puzzle, right?
Right. Yeah. It's really cool. I think the media industry right now with the digital age just keeping, just being consistent and just, it's just ever evolving every day. And I think it's a really cool industry. That's why I got into the program. And you were my professor for MDST 3390, the public practice course. That helped me out a lot. A great resume writing course for everyone in GH. Go and do it with Michael. It's a great course, great teacher as well. So how does it feel being a professor, aside from, having Messenger Bag Media, being a professor? I know you were at the institution as a student. How does it feel being a professor and kind of helping students reach their goals in this industry?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so at the current point, I'm not teaching any classes right now.
Mhm.
But yeah, for me, I'd always wanted to do it. Like, I remember, even shortly after graduating, I was thinking to myself, okay, one day, like, I would like to come back to GH and actually teach. And I found it like a lot of fun. Again, teaching 2 courses, quite a bit there. Freelancing and small business was a brand new course as well,
Mm,
so I
yeah.
developed like all of the assignments and everything there.
Right.
But I mean, it was sort of, I joked because it in a certain way almost felt like it was created for me to teach, right? Freelancing and small business. Well,
Yeah.
what did I do? Freelance for years. What do I own? A small business, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it ties in pretty well. Um, so with that course in particular, especially since it was brand new and I was creating those assignments, I really thought, okay, what did I found it interesting because it actually gave me the ability to look back at all of what I've done with the business and sort of trace back the steps of like, okay, well, what did I have to do to start out? What were those things like, what did I have to consider? Oh, yes, okay, business plan, yes, yes, invoicing, taxes,
Mhm.
taxes, like important stuff, right? And I also just tried to think, okay, when I would have been your age or any of those other students' age, like what would I what would have been useful to know at that point? And I also felt like there was just some stuff that I wanted to bring up that was like general life stuff you're going to have to deal with after
Yeah,
this. So
for
I
sure.
also just tried to educate you guys about like general like interest savings, mortgage stuff
Right.
too, just
Right.
because it was like, hey, I felt like that never gets touched on, but it's
Right.
something
Yeah,
that
it doesn't.
people very quickly have to deal with. So,
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's great because I feel as if within the media studies program at GH, it's so specialized. And I think with the freelancing course, that was a brand new course, like you said, um, that a lot of people can benefit from it. I don't think a lot of courses in university in general have those, courses built in. Okay, like here's all like because in university, Michael, you've been a student, you've been a professor, you know the whole material of university is just here's the concepts, but they don't show you the real life application. Once you have those courses that show the real life application, okay, like here's how you can save up for your mortgage, or do your invoices or taxes. I think that's a great beneficial course for anyone to take, whether that be, engineering, even being a doctor. I think everyone can benefit from it. So it's great that you've,
mm.
taught that course, and it's a great course, and I highly recommend it. Um,
Well, and like at GH, right?
yeah,
You do get a lot of that uh hands-on like
yeah,
experience, right?
yeah, for
And I
sure.
think that the main thing is like you've got to start somewhere and you've got to learn some of those technical elements, and then like once you get out into the workforce, like you're there's a whole bunch of stuff you learn after you graduate too,
Right.
right? But the
Yeah,
thing
absolutely.
is that you're going on the baseline of what everyone needs to know, and then related to your like, and this isn't just like a university thing. This would be like in any position. If you started at any new company, like there's always going to be things that are specific to that role
Oh
that
yeah,
you
for
will
sure.
always be picking up, whether that's something that's internal, like processes, or lingo, anything like that, you definitely kind of have a lot. There's always opportunities for learning,
Yeah, for
but I
sure.
think that when it comes to your time at GH, it definitely sets you up really well to like to learn a lot and to know a lot so that you're kind of prepared and ready. But I will say it's also about what you make of that time and how much you kind of apply yourself in those roles.
Yeah, I think it also comes up, it's two parts of the equation. The student also has to apply themselves to what they want to achieve, what they want to do, because there's a lot of students who are in those programs and they just absolutely, excuse me, hate it. And that's not good. But anyway, besides that, Michael, do you have any like resume advice you would like to give anyone who's going to watch this video, or any career advice?
Yeah. Okay. So by resume advice, oh, sorry, my video is frozen. 1 second.
Yeah, it's okay.
How long did that freeze for? Like
No, it's
more than a
only two
minute or?
seconds. No, no,
Oh,
no.
okay,
Two
good.
seconds,
Okay,
but
okay,
I
cool,
think we'll
great.
be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
worry.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, any
So,
career advice. Yeah, any career advice.
so when it comes to like resume or career advice, like uh, I guess, yeah, what sort of stuff might you be looking for, like resume writing or like actual skills for like
Well, there's
learning to build your like actual
So like
skills?
yeah, there's a lot of questions embedded in the in those two questions itself. So I was saying like yeah, like what could like media students do to, build a portfolio? Like how can they build a
Mm,
portfolio or like what to do in an interview, what to not to do in an interview? That's what I wanted to
sure.
ask. Yeah,
I would say the biggest thing would definitely be when you're in school, you get access to equipment there that you do not normally get. And I found, looking back on it, there were a lot of students, myself included, who probably didn't utilize that equipment outside of assignments. Uh, uh, but you really should, because when you have graduated and you need to use any of this equipment for yourself or for anything like that, it is very expensive to
yeah.
buy, right? It is very, very expensive to buy.
Really, yeah.
So utilize it while you have the opportunity, because then you can, you know, you can create like even better things. I would say you can always reach out to someone and just send an email saying, hey, I'm a student or I'm a recent grad and I'm just looking to learn more about this industry, about your career trajectory, right? Like, don't immediately go in, I'm looking for a job or anything. No, like, just express interest in the person and hearing about how they got there. Would they have time for a coffee? The other thing I would say is make sure that you're actually, uh, you know, if you do that outreach, you got to be flexible on your timing. So if they say, hey, I'm free this day at this time, unless like you literally have something that's immovable,
Right.
then you could say, oh, sorry, not that day, maybe how about this one? But if it's just like, oh, they suggested 9:30 a.m. and I like to sleep in. Like, no, well, too bad. You're getting up early that day. And you've got to go to them. I mean, if you do it virtually, that's one thing, but
Right.
meet in person. And again, sometimes I understand for a lot of students, like they might not live right nearby any of, where offices might be or anything like that, but you've got to get there. You have to put in that effort. And sometimes, yes, it means that you spent 45 minutes or an hour getting there and you'll spend the same leaving.
Yep.
And the whole meeting might have only been 30 minutes, but
Yep.
trust me, spending that time is very valuable, because what you'll get in that in-person meeting is really important. But again, don't go, hey, I'm looking for a job. Really focus on that person, their experience, how they got where they got. Do they have any advice? Learn from them. Ask about kind of, okay, hey, what did you do as like your internship? How'd you get from there to there? Like, express interest in person, and just, I find that that goes a long way, and that will help you get a better idea of how other people have been successful, because it can seem really difficult when you're a recent grad or a student. How'd
Mhm.
you get to here? How'd that happen, right?
Yeah.
And when you can break it into smaller steps, I think that helps.
Yeah, no, no, for sure. Yeah. I guess taking it slowly, pace by pace, going forward into
Mm-hmm.
the industry, it kind of ties into my next question actually. What can a lot of, people expect coming into this industry once they get into the doors?
Well, I would say that I always found it interesting how there were students when I was a student, and then also as a professor,
Mhm.
who uh, everyone wants the cool internship. They want the thing with the company that's well known. And I think it's like, no, what you want is the thing that's going to give you the experience, right?
You're right.
So
Yeah.
make sure, like, who cares what your whether it's at like a well-known company, it's about what you're going to get out of it, right? I found there were so many, for some of the assignments for public practice, right? You guys
Yeah.
had to
Yeah, that was a
do
lot.
you had to pick a you know series of internships that you might potentially want to
Yep.
apply to. We
Yeah,
did
yeah.
mock interviews, all
Yep.
of that stuff.
Yes.
The
Yes.
amount of people who all picked MLSE for where they wanted to do their internship, and I get it. Sports, it's cool, it's fun, it's a
Yep.
well-known company, right?
Yep.
But um, if you get the opportunity to learn a lot, to be sort of like integral, and again, like to work between various departments, or to again when you're in those positions, you also need to express what it is that you want to learn and what you want to get out of it. They don't necessarily know what you're looking for. They might have the role that's assigned to you, but they understand that you're there to learn. So make it known what you actually want
Hmm.
to learn in that position. Like when I worked at Family Channel, I managed interns in the department that I worked in there, and GH interns. Like I try to always like help back with GH wherever possible. But I remember saying to one of the interns, I said, "Hey, look, like um, you've got to tell me kind of what you're also looking to get at. Like here's the role and here's what we're doing, right? But like this is a learning experience for you too. So if you want to try this out, let me know. Let the other people in the department know. We can find ways to do that. Doesn't necessarily mean it'll happen today. It might be 2 weeks from now or a month from now or something, right? When we can find the opportunity to do it. But yeah, I would say that those are some tips.
No, those are great tips. Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. And since you've like you've mentioned before, you've been in this industry for a while, you've learned a lot. You were in the journalism stream at the beginning of your career. Was that a good place for you to start your media career, or do you feel like you could have pursued another path?
Yeah, I mean, I will always love the time I had, like, in the journalism track, in the journalism stream, and like, because I used to do a lot more freelance writing, particularly in like video game journalism. So I used to
Hmm.
freelance for a lot of different outlets. And then, I did my internships. I did one at like a business to business trucking magazine called Today's Trucking, where now in my work in Magazines Canada, I actually work with the owner of that magazine.
Oh,
So, it all kind of ties back in. And again, like every step leads to the next step, right? Like
yep.
every experience you have, whether it is good, bad, just totally you're gaining experience, you're meeting people, and you're figuring out what you do and you don't like. And for me, again, I love journalism. Like honestly, if this were like the heyday of like print journalism where magazine staff writers could be making all this money, then like yeah, I probably totally would have stuck with it. Right? I still love writing, but I found a way to transition some of those skills into something that took other skills I had that had I guess been more hobby related or freelance and side hustle related, and then started my business. I will say that um, if you go into the journalism stream and you take that in school, I still actually think it sets you up very well for everything else in media. Sure, you're not taking the studio photography course or something like that,
Yep.
but what you learn about how to put a story together and the kind of inquisitive skills to have and providing context and thinking about kind of what you're doing and what the purpose of what you're doing is, I find that sets me up very well. I mentioned earlier about when it comes to doing interviews and any video stuff, when I'm behind the camera asking people the questions, I think that it makes me a better interviewer having those journalism skills because I know what we're trying to accomplish with the video,
Yep.
and as a result, uh, I know what I'm kind of trying to get them to say and help them get there, so I can kind of rephrase a question, or like anything like that, right?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah. I think, like you said, picking, journalism as your main route, it really does help you out because, a lot of media, pathways, they're all interrelated somehow. You have to market yourself. So you have marketing, you need to have journalism because you have to write down a certain type of piece, let's just say. You need, video skills because you need to, shoot a video of yourself. So they're all, interrelated, they're all embedded in each other, they're all, connected with each other. And I think everyone is, could benefit um, on any of one of them, honestly, no matter which one they pursue. So that's great to hear. And my last question to you, Michael, is any kind of words of advice you want to give to any media professionals or students who are in the media industry or want to pursue it?
Hmm. Um, Yeah, let me think for a sec here. Advice for if you're in
Like
it.
what they can do,
I
what they can't do, like how well should they prepare to get into this industry, what to expect if they're in this industry, stuff like that.
I mean, I would say like when you're starting out, um, again, I found a lot of people get really focused on like, I want to be in this job, or like focus on the people that you're working with, the people that you're around, the experience that you're getting, and focus on that. Don't focus on like, the name of like where you're working or anything like that. Make sure you're building those skills, you're learning that. And again, relationships. It is like all about the people you know. When it comes to my business, again, we've had it for 5 years. I've spent $0 advertising my business and have done it all entirely on word of mouth and relationships. I worked in a ton of different places over the years, whether they were internships, contract work, freelance stuff, full time positions. Every person I ever worked with when I started my business, I reached out and said, hey, I have a business now. Do you ever, need something for this or that, or like let's get together for coffee, catch up, and
Yep.
again just sort of educate them on that. And again, I was well liked and performed well. So it's one thing to be, good to chat with, but you also need to deliver. So I would say, make sure that you're always delivering on everything you say, deliver stuff that's high quality, care about the work that you do, and then people will see that. People will see, especially, you're organized, you're reliable, whatever, they'll want to work with you again. And just because you might not get something out of it right now doesn't mean it's not going to come later down the line. You just sort of have to believe in that. And having some of those no pressure tactics, I find, always brings business back. People like who you are, like what you do, and that'll just come. Like, you sort of have to, in a certain way, have like a bit of a leap of faith, trust that that's going to happen. But
Mhm.
if you're doing that in so many different ways, like if you put all your eggs in one basket and you're just waiting for that one person, okay, that's, going to take a long time. It might come, but it might not.
Mhm.
But if you've got a whole ton of people that and you're working with, like, that's why I found all of the freelance work and contract work to be so useful, right? Because it was connections at all different places, right? I remember I had a position at RBC Insurance years ago, and it was a contract position, and then I was offered a full time position,
Mhm.
and I actually ended up turning it down to go do a 3 month contract at Family Channel because I thought that that was more related to what I actually wanted to do, and it was. And after being there for a month, I, basically shifted into another position because they realized, like, hey, he can do this or that, and then we really like him, and then extended again, and then full-time permanent, and then I was like managing their streaming app with in the span of a few months. And you know on paper that looks like a horrible idea. You turned down a full-time manager position at like a thing that was stable and more money and everything. Yeah, I
Right.
did, because I found what was more related to what I wanted to do, would give me the relationships and the experience that was going to help in where I saw my career going more long term.
With that being said, Michael, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Daniel. And I don't know exactly when this will go out, but I do know that early in 2024, we're going to have a new website available for Messenger Bag Media that'll highlight kind of more of our work and our team members and
Yeah,
everything. So
for
so
sure.
take a look at that. It's
Mes-
messengerbagmedia.ca.
Yeah, messengerbackmedia.ca. Check that out. I'll put Michael's LinkedIn handle as well in the link in the description below for you to connect with him if you want on LinkedIn. Michael Brown,
Yeah,
everyone. Oh,
I'm always happy to chat. So reach out. Again, I get it. I was in that position
for sure.
at one point. You'll get through it, but again, make those connections, do that outreach, but be good about it, be smart about it, be consistent, follow up. Like, if people can't respond to you right away, um, that's okay. You can follow up, or like I sometimes have said to people, okay, follow up with me on this day. And if they do it, bam, that's good. Then you listened, you did it, and then the ball's back in my court, but I know that you listened to what I had to say. So anyway, just bonus tip.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, Michael Brown, everyone. Check him out on LinkedIn and messengerbag.ca. Check it out. The video is coming out in January, so yeah, so it'll be soon. Stay tuned. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Daniel.